Booster 19, no sew zone around embroidered areas of a quilt. From the main menu, Design Sew Quilt. Start New. Pantograph. Enter rectangle the size of your quilt. I'm using 45. Enter. 60. Enter. Continue. And finished. Choose a panto pattern and continue twice. I'm using Tammy Finkler's Faster Posies, so I'm going to search Posies, enter, and this is the one I'm looking for. We need it twice. Close the row gap. Just pull it down on the screen until you're happy with it. And I ran this at an 8-inch height. Finished. Transition type is set to continuous. That's what I want around this outside edge of the quilt, is for it to continue sewing, so I'll accept it, and it will give me a chance to change my mind. Choose yes, and I'm ready to sew the quilt. Sew quilt. Select the first pattern, continue. Select the next pattern, continue. Stop to cut threads. Repeat until the quilt is sequenced. You can learn to use only 2 rows later. Choose Sew Quilt. And I'm going to choose Realign. I was doing the designing in front of the camera at the edge of the quilt. So I'm going to set a Realign reference point. Let me make sure you can see the screen. We might as well get a review of Realign also. See if I can zoom it in a little. The screen is telling me to touch a reference point on the screen. I'm going to choose that upper left corner of the quilt. And you see the bullseye. Continue. And for my purposes, I'm going to choose the spot I'm at on the quilt right now as if it were the left corner. My screen says move the needle to the location of the reference point and touch OK. I'm going to set up the no sew block, so I'm not ready to sew yet. I'm going to choose back arrow. So we need to see the bottom of the tablet right now. And I'll zoom back out just a little. Hopefully you'll be able to still read it. Try right there. Back arrow. No, I don't want to save the current needle position. Back arrow. Do I want to keep the stitching sequence? Yes, I do. Add edit block. Add block. No sew zone. Select all. Continue. And choose mark on quilt. And I'm going to follow the prompts on the screen now. I'm going to move the camera down to the quilt. Find the block I'm working on. There it is. I'm going to use that stitched star as if it were an embroidery. And if it were an embroidery, I want to set it off with probably a circle. So I'm going to put my needle at the highest point of the embroidery, and I'm going to move around it. I don't really need to move in and out, although I could if that's how your embroidery is working. All we're doing is defining an area so we can bring a circle in. And know that it is in the right location and the right size to go around the embroidery. And we can close the block now. And I'm going to touch finished. And what you'll see on the screen is the area we just did a mark on quilt using OK to define the points. I need to touch finished. She's asking me for a transition type. Continuous is fine, we'll accept that for now, but you can experiment later by touching the plus key. So I touched accept, and yes, and finished. If we were to zoom in now on this location, you can see that there are no stitches behind that star. We need to preview the panto to see where it's going to I haven't added the circle, so we can't preview it yet. Here, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong page, guys. Here we go. We're going to add edit pattern, add pattern, block pattern, use the current block, go to geometrics, circle, continue, zoom off, zoom in, touch the screen about 3 times, enough that you can see that circle clearly. Turn the zoom back off by touching zoom on, scale, drag the circle until it's larger than the embroidered area. Perfect. Finished. And finished. We're going to add a no-sew block again. Add edit block, add block, no-sew zone, select all, deselect the circle. So we need to zoom in far enough we can easily touch that circle. It needs to turn blue and continue. Now we can create a pattern contour by touching that circle. I think you can probably see it if I get my arm out of the way. There we go, it turned red. Continue, finished, finished, accept, yes, and finished. I need to continue now on a second video, so I'm going to stop this one.